The air crackles with anticipation. Thousands of eyes are fixed on the top of the pyramid. At the very summit, a lone figure stands. In his hands a small dagger. His chest, adorned with feathers and jewels, signifies his status. As he raises the blade, a hush falls over the crowd. He draws back the curtain of his flowing robe, and then plunges the knife into his chest. Blood, the lifeblood of the universe, starts to spill. Picture yourself standing in the heart of an ancient city, surrounded by towering pyramids, vibrant markets, and thousands of people gathered in silence. At the very center of their world was one belief, that the survival of the universe depended on offerings to the gods. For the Maya and the Aztecs, human sacrifice was not just ritual, it was duty, honor, and the foundation of life itself. Today, we explore the shadowy traditions of these civilizations, uncovering why they believed sacrifice was essential, how it was performed, and what it meant for their societies. As the injured man gasps, clutching at his chest, the crowd does not recoil in horror, but in reverence. Each drop of blood is a prayer, applied to the gods for continued existence, for bountiful harvests, and for protection in times of conflict. The wounded man is not suffering. He is giving. And in his sacrifice, the spectators see their own reflection, their responsibility to the cosmos. For the Maya and the Aztecs, human sacrifice wasn't about sadism or worshiping violence. It was about balance. They believed the universe was kept in harmony by the flow of life force, a vital energy that surged through all living things. This energy, often symbolized as blood, was seen as the very essence of life and the key to maintaining order. Their environment, marked by shifting seasons and potential disaster, underlined this fragility. Floods, droughts, and wars were seen as disruptions in this cosmic balance, demanding restoration. For the Maya, living in the tropical lowlands of Mesoamerica, their connection to the gods was often personal. Rulers and nobles frequently engaged in self-sacrifice, puncturing their skin with sharp tools like the agave plant's thorns or obsidian blades. This act wasn't painful for them. It was a means to communicate directly with the gods, a way to offer their life essence and seek divine guidance. The Maya believed that by offering their blood, they were sharing their very essence with the deities, ensuring blessings upon their people. Bloodletting rituals were not isolated events. They were woven into every aspect of Maya life, from the coronation of a king to the planting of crops. Each action required a symbolic offering, a reminder that everything was done under the watchful gaze of the gods. But for the Aztecs, whose capital city, Tenochtitlan, was a bustling hub of trade and culture, sacrifice was a grand affair. On a colossal scale, their empire, thriving on the shores of Lake Texcoco, was a testament to human achievement. The great temple, the beating heart of their religious life, stood majestically at the center of the city. Its towering presence dominated the skyline, serving as a physical link between earth and the heavens. Within its sacred halls, human sacrifice played out in all its solemnity. Aztec society, renowned for its military prowess, had a unique approach to sacrifice. Known as the Flower Wars, battles were fought not just for land or resources, but to capture prisoners who would later become offerings to the gods. These captives weren't seen as victims, but as gifts to the gods, a gesture of appeasement and gratitude. The true purpose of war was to provide the city's grand ceremonies with participants, a grim reality that set Aztec warfare apart from any other. Once inside the temple, the captured individuals understood their fate. They were prepared for sacrifice, adorned in robes and flowers, and then led to the top of the pyramid where priests with sharp obsidian knives awaited. The moment of sacrifice was not a moment of terror, but one of acceptance. As the victim laid down on the sacrificial stone, their chests bared, they knew they were fulfilling a greater purpose. They were nourishing the sun, ensuring the continuation of life on earth. However, for the Aztecs, there were occasions that transcended even the grandeur of the great temple. Festivals honoring various gods were held throughout the year, each requiring a spectacular display of devotion. The Festival of the New Fire, the Celebration of the Year, and the Feast of the Dead were not just religious events. They were citywide affairs that demanded the utmost in sacrifice. These celebrations, often lasting for days, were filled with music, dance, and processionals. But at their core, they were about giving, about providing the gods with what they needed to sustain life. Some individuals were chosen not for sacrifice, but to embody the gods. These impersonators, usually men of high status, were treated with reverence and luxury for the time they represented the divine. This period of grandeur, however, was temporary. Eventually, these impersonators would be sacrificed, ensuring the gods' continued presence in the world. Such was the depth of Aztec devotion that even royalty was not exempt from sacrifice. Rulers, seen as intermediaries between the gods and the people, offered their blood regularly, demonstrating their commitment to both the divine and their subjects. The Aztec king, Moctezuma II, famous for his encounter with Cortez, reportedly sacrificed his own blood hundreds of times during his reign. To truly understand the Aztec approach to sacrifice, one must consider the setting. The great temple stood at the center of the city, its towering presence linking earth and sky. Inside its vast chambers, human sacrifice played out against a backdrop of flickering torches and chanting priests. The air was thick with incense, and the rhythm of drums reverberated through the stone floors. The spectacle was not merely gruesome, but deeply spiritual. While the Aztecs practiced large-scale sacrifices at temples and festivals, the Maya often preferred smaller, more intimate rituals. Despite their different approaches, both civilizations shared the belief that sacrifice was essential to maintain cosmic balance. In Maya society, children were not seen as innocent bystanders, but as powerful vessels of life force. During the classic Maya period, which lasted from around 250 to 900 AD, the Maya built great cities like Tikal and Calakmul. These urban centers were hubs of trade and cultural exchange, but they were also deeply religious. The Maya believed that the gods were intimately involved in the affairs of humans, and that included the fate of their children. Children were sometimes offered to deities associated with rain and agriculture, such as Chak, the rain god. These offerings weren't viewed as a terrible end, but as a way to ensure the continuation of life, a means to secure bountiful harvests and sustained rainfall. The Maya believed that children, with their purity and connection to the spiritual realm, were uniquely suited for such an important task. They were seen as vessels of immense power, capable of channeling the life force necessary to appease the gods. However, it's crucial to remember that not all Maya sacrifices involved children. Individuals of all ages and social statuses participated in rituals, offering their blood through piercing ceremonies or by allowing insects to feed on their exposed chests. These acts were not acts of desperation or submission, but expressions of devotion and a way of life. Archaeological evidence suggests that the Maya kept detailed records of their ceremonies, including those involving human sacrifice. The Dresden Codex, a pre-Columbian manuscript, contains illustrations depicting ritual offerings and ceremonies. These ancient texts not only provide insight into the types of sacrifices performed, but also the mindset behind them. For the Maya, sacrifice wasn't merely a religious duty, it was a celebration of life, a way to honor the gods and ensure the continuation of the universe. To truly grasp the essence of these practices, one must step back from modern sensibilities and embrace a different way of perceiving the world. It's a world where rain is a blessing from the gods, where harvests depend on the sun's favor, and where the delicate balance of life is maintained through offerings. It's a world where sacrifice isn't an act of brutality, but of devotion. When the conquistadors arrived, they were confronted with a way of life that was radically different from their own. Human sacrifice was to them barbaric and unacceptable. But for the Maya and Aztecs, it was the cornerstone of their existence. The Spaniards wrote accounts that exaggerated the scale of sacrifices, often using them to demonize the indigenous populations. These writings, while biased, provide us with our primary sources of information on these practices. However, we must approach them with a critical eye, recognizing the Spaniards' motives and the sensational nature of their narratives. Archaeology has provided us with a more balanced perspective, confirming the practice of human sacrifice through the discovery of remains and ritualistic artifacts. The awe-inspiring pyramids, temples, and palaces scattered across the landscape stand as silent witnesses to these long-lost traditions. Exploring the world of the Maya and Aztecs through their human sacrifice challenges us to confront our own cultural biases. It forces us to acknowledge that what we consider normal is often a product of our own time and place. It invites us to appreciate the complexity of past civilizations and to recognize that their beliefs, however different from ours, were once just as real and meaningful to them as our own are to us. In the end, human sacrifice in these ancient societies serves as a reminder of the incredible diversity of human belief and the lengths to which people will go to maintain harmony with their world.